Hey, Randy Joe here, and welcome back to MC May, the series where throughout the month of May I'm going to be listening to various hip-hop/rap albums, and today you saw the title already, we're going to be checking out Sometimes I Might Be Introvert by Little Simz. Released in 2021, I never got around to this one. I know this was, for a lot of people, their album of the year that year. An hour and 5 minutes, it is a pretty lengthy album, breaking that 1 hour mark, and has 19 tracks. And other than her follow-up album to this one, No Thank You, I haven't heard any of her other albums. I have heard this one here, No Thank You. I thought it was really fantastic, and for 2022 was one of my favorite releases. I thought it was one of the best hip-hop albums of the year, and she has an energy and kind of fire in her lyricism, as well as a very full-body production that, to me, feels very much comparable to that of a Kendrick Lamar. So, again, a very, monumental artist, I would say, and this is considered her best work, so I am excited to check it out because I've put it off far too long. So the first track here is 6 minutes long. It is, it seems like the title track, given the fact that it's called Introvert. Let's just jump into it. Boy, oh boy, starting with those thick drums. Boy, oh boy, this got a monumental feel for sure. Oh my goodness. Very heavy intro, boy. As I've said before, I love horns. Nowadays being used in rap a lot, and you don't get more hornish than this. Gotta be careful with my choice of words there. Oh, she's spitting some very political truths. Oh, into a smoother kind of R&B chorus. Really speaking on the battle to success. Her own self-conscious, it would seem, knocking her down. Ooh. Ripping into her government here. Again, very much feels like, Kendrick Lamar speaking on social injustices and how the government puppeteers everything, especially within the black communities. A massive instrumental too. Boy, it is so full-bodied. I love the kind of soulful R&B chorus as well. I really like this outro. Having some sort of I think there might be a narrative being built, perhaps. Or at least a thematic narrative. Very theatrical. Got this like Broadway appeal. Just how monumental it feels. Amazing intro track. Just, again, very large scale production. The drums are ear-shattering. The way it really just invigorates the listener. And really speaking on her kind of self-conscious as well as social justices and her fight against this bigger machine, essentially. Let's go on to Woman. Second track here. I like these drums. Smooth, very smooth. Speaking on independence as a woman. Self-respect. Very laid back this one is. I like it. Ooh. Ooh, this effect coming on the left too, that plucking. Really uplifting verses. And empowering for all women. Especially those, subjected to more injustices. I guess your average woman is, but speaking on black women specifically. Ooh. That rattle. Such a soft, soulful chorus. The instrumental kind of disperses within it.
I don't know, it just reminds me to call you, but then you never pick up the phone.
Ending with a bit of humor. Woman was a fantastic track. Obvious reasons. Very uplifting. Really soulful production. Nice R&B fusion as well within it. You know, and of course, lyrically, she is just a spectacular poet. Above all else, she really brings, you know, what it means to be a rapper to the poet side of things. Hits you with some hard lyricism, but does it with such a nonchalant, smooth delivery. Beautiful. Two worlds apart is this one here. So far, a very kind of classic sounding record. Has a bit of a throwback sound, but feels very, production-wise, very rich. Kind of reminds me of the Miseducation of Lauryn Hill in a way, due to its blend. Loving me a pina colada. I think that this like kind of chopped up soul sample is nice. Kendrick Lamar shout out. Ooh. What a transition from that sample to these. Was that Simz herself perhaps? Gorgeous. Really like the snide, you know, lyricism sometimes, you know, very snarky. Oh, her flow picking up, rapid. Oh, that whole verse, that whole delivery, rapid fire. Just felt like it was like a tumbling block. Really love this sample as well. Very soulful, and it works beautifully with the rest of the production here. Great track. Let's go into I Love You, I Hate You. Move things along here. Ooh. Heavy kick there. Heavy snare and bass. Really like a good blend of classic soul samples and modern day kind of neo soul R&B aspects. I think she's speaking on herself here. She's speaking to herself, similar again to how Kendrick Lamar tends to speak to himself within his own lyrics. Embracing the love of yourself, well, you know, thinking less of yourself. This oh, that bass line was nice, but now we got strings coming in. God, it's such a varied production. So orchestral. Oh. Perhaps that whole verse was to her father, it would seem. Wow. So much to take in, both production-wise and lyrically. Very dense listen. Again, comparisons to Kendrick Lamar, clear as day, with just how rich the production is and how much it seems to blend different genres, while at the same time hitting you with constant, you know, brutal truth lyrics, very honest, very vulnerable lyrics. And the drumming on here, the rapid drum there, oh, it's so beautiful. And that orchestral section, like I said, it's blending soul, R&B, some Baroque elements with the orchestral elements. Obviously hip-hop running deep. Yeah, seems like it's all about her father perhaps, or parents in general.
Sometimes I'm unbalanced and I think, raw, why am I losing my steps? Lately I'm paranoid, I feel my
And it goes into these beautiful passages.
You in understanding, knowing my words will connect. I keep you in my prayers, cause life is short as we know. Every mistake you make should contribute to your growth. What you choose to avoid will probably come in your dreams. I'm not forgiven for you, man, I'm forgiven for me. And sometimes
this is a perfect track so far. Really hard-hitting, direct lyricism to her father, elements of her speaking to herself, and then speaking to us, it would seem, in that final verse. That's what I'm gathering here. Very effective storytelling, very rich lyricism. Beautiful.
sometimes.
Perfect track. And at 4 minutes, it does so much production-wise. Very diverse. And this sample too, been there since the beginning. Let's go right into the next little cue, part 1. Looks like it's an intro track. A very light sound as well to this album at times. Not sure who's speaking here. Not sure who's speaking. Maybe her father? I don't know. But it's leading right into a little cue, part 2. Oh. It's bringing that sample back with a hard-hitting drum section. The drumming on this, too, has been very beautiful, almost studio-like. Oh, I like this kind of lo-fi element. Maybe it's her older brother then. Very religious as well, the themes in this album. I like this choir. Uplifting chorus too. It's so I really like the optimism in this LP. Whoa. She was stabbed? What? Hits you like whiplash with some of these reveals. God, what a uplifting, soulful track, yet having such a dark subject matter, but optimistic in its execution. Again, can't help but also remind myself of Miseducation of Lauryn Hill, which is how optimistic the overall sound is, while still being very, from the gutter in terms of its subject matter. Here's Gems, the interlude. Kind of a kaleidoscope effect. God, very dreamlike.
Take your time. Inhale, exhale, breathe. Do you want 15 years or 15 minutes?
15 years, Simz.
Do not tie yourself.
Trying to live up to the expectations, putting everything I can into what I create. I'm trying
It's
to
so
be the best
theatrical.
version of myself.
It will guide you.
For an interlude, this is fantastic. Did somebody tell Simz that interludes usually don't have to be this magnificent? That bass is heavy. Fantastic interlude. No reason to be that good. Let's go into speed. Bit more of a banger to this one. Very full confidence Simz here. A braggadocious track from Simz. Ooh, a Kanye reference. Maybe not fully Kanye, let's hope. You can see the influence as well, though, from Kanye to her. This instrumental, those bongos, that squeak. This is a banger of a track. Super catchy. Should be a good one to balance in the car. Super braggadocious. Really just Simz flexing, which not usually used to, but I like it. Has a nice fire in it. Always good for some variation in the track list. Ooh. And a transition into standing ovation. What a transition. Oh, and these drums. Drum line, like, punchy as hell. I'm not sure who's handling production on this LP, but it is wonderfully produced. Oh, I'm sorry. What a stylistic change. Lighthearted. Oh, and then right back into it. God, pause the track here. Standing ovation. Let's give it up right here. This is a perfect track. Once again, I'm feeling very good about this album. We are 9 tracks in. 9 already. It flows beautifully. The pacing on this one too, this whole album, has been spectacular. So we're at the halfway mark or so, and I've got to say, this has been the greatest album I've heard so far this month for MC May. And for a first listen to be this impactful, I'm wondering how I'm going to feel about this album in a couple months' time, in a year's time, where this is going to end up on my hip-hop rankings, because I have a feeling it's going to end up very high. Maybe top 20, top 30. Who knows? Let's just continue. But boy, oh boy, I gotta say, this has been impeccable so far. Oh, and it's so full. You got it. I'm curious on who's the main producer of this. I'm assuming it's Dean, Inflow professionally, Dean, Josiah Cover. His production so far, though, immaculate. Really matches her energy, and they just have a good sense of chemistry between the two of them. They clearly understand each other's goals as artists. Let's continue.
We build a pyramids, can't you see national speakers and the honest black leaders, the divine healers, the everyday low-paid believers, the overachievers in the shadow of the gatekeepers.
I'm getting goosebumps right now.
Came down to teach us.
Yeah, this is a 10 out of 10 track. Every track so far has really been up there. Feeling like I'm on another planet with this album. And a long, smooth fade out. Love how high the highs are of this album. You know, you reach this elevation and then she brings it down ever so gently. Let's go into the next track, I See You.
In my ear and tell me you won't leave.
Bit of a love track.
Can't tell you how much we spent, 'cause I'm present in this moment, hope this feeling never ends.
Yeah, it seems so. This guitar too is so gentle. Very sweet chorus here. Down to the root of poeticism. Love. This feels like the future of rap, this album. Like super ahead, but has that nice soulful throwback feeling. Crisp, clean production. Very much ahead of the curve, I would say. In a lot of ways. Great track, spoke on love quite beautifully. Lots of braggadocious tracks. We're getting the social justice tracks, and we're getting the love tracks. You know, there's a nice blend of themes throughout this album. Really spreads itself out and does it quite effectively. However, when I was listening to that, I was looking at the album cover here, and I noticed the SIMBI were slightly brighter. And I was like, huh, interesting, you know? Why is that? Maybe it says Simz. I was like, no, it doesn't. There's a B there. Simbi. Interesting. Then I look at the biography here. Her full name is, sorry if I'm going to get this wrong, Simbiatu Ajikawa. Hopefully I'm not mispronouncing that. I apologize if I am. However, Simbi, you're telling me this is essentially, in a way, the closest she is to a self-titled album. Didn't even catch that, but boy, I'm loving just how subtle that is. Maybe I'm just a little dim. Let's carry on. The rapper that came to tea. Interlude.
Oh, hello.
Like a good cup of tea.
You're early. Please. Sit.
I would like a cup of
Would
tea.
you like a cup of tea?
Yes, please.
There. I'm sure it will be fine. However, the actual
I like these
and I was told you don't talk.
very gentle tracks and
A
passages.
question, if I may. Lifetime.
She's very much a introverted extrovert in a way.
Do you have the willingness to do the same? Your mind is the most powerful tool.
Even these interludes with other
Never look
speakers,
back. Your destiny
the
awaits.
lyrics are very rich. It's such a, again, very monumental, theatrical, Broadway-like performances on this LP. Let's go into Rolling Stone here. Great interlude. She does not mess around with interludes. Take note. Other rappers. Or other artists, really. Hungry delivery. Ooh, we got like this kind of trap element. This beat, like another banger of a track. Oh, where's this going? Bit of a rudimentary style there. Intentional. Okay, it's picking up. She's got venom in these lines. Man, I'm so unfamiliar with this side of Simz, but I love it. It is just full of vitriol. It is gorgeous, while at the same time brutal and hungry. She's devouring her enemies. Incredible diversity on this album. Incredible. I love the full confidence in her on this track and LP. Ooh. German. Working with that Berlin line. Is that auto-tune? Interesting. Maybe the most off-putting element so far on the album. Not that I dislike autotune, trust me, I'm a 100 Gex fan after all, but didn't expect that is all. Protect My Energies, this one. Funky. This is what I mean. She's got so many different blends. Loving the funk on this. Oh, shimmering. And that bass reminded me of Thundercat. This one's really catchy. Very upbeat. It is a bit of a left turn for sure. Maybe the most left turn on the album. Really uplifting track about your circle. Maybe sinking, protecting herself. Really isolating herself, I guess, with that introvert energy here. But she doesn't want to be manipulated by this opposer. Protect My Energy, I've got to say, is not the weakest track, but is certainly the biggest left turn, and I could see being, to many, their least favorite, simply because it is such a weird shift into a funky kind of 80s throwback energy. while having a modern day sensibility to it. I did like it, but no rapping on it. It's much more focused on just, singing and the very upbeat nature of it. But I did like it. I'll say that. It's just one I'll have to get more used to in the track list, since it does feel like such a twist. Never Make Promises, Interlude. Very like operatic elements too to the interludes. Yeah, another interlude. Wasn't my favorite of the interludes, that's for sure. I think it's the weakest so far. I mean, it's short, only a minute long. Let's go right into Point and Kill with hopefully I'm not mispronouncing this, Ovation, who I am most familiar with from his tracks with Danny Brown on You Know What I'm Saying, when he was on the track You Know What I'm Saying, as well as Belly of the Beast, which I really like. Belly of the Beast, underrated track. Don't know why it has 1.8 million streams. However, we're not about this album today. We're talking about Sometimes I Might Be Introvert. And the feature here, Ovation, I do like him quite a bit. I think he has a really great sense of style from what I've heard. Let's hear him with Simz. I think that blend will definitely work from what I know of the two. It's kind of got this kind of like Afrobeat energy. Get Simz and Ovation on a Sons of Kemet album. Oh, I guess not. They retired. We'll get them with Shabaka Hutchings, is what I'm saying. Could really work. Really like the accents seems focused on this track. Good energy. Kind of remind me of African blues, Songhai blues, or Ali Farka Tour kind of inspiration almost. Reminds me of them. Really, yeah, like I expected. Didn't expect that, but like I expected, they complement one another quite beautifully. Very smooth transition off one another, and their energy together. They got good chemistry. I like this one a lot. Very catchy, especially this chorus. Point and Kill. Great track. Let's go into Fear No Man. Continue this impeccable album. Again, really throwing it back to the kind of like African roots here in that sound. This also giving some, again, reminds me of Sons of Kemet. Your Queen is a Reptile. Highly recommend that album, by the way. A beautiful, energetic, just fast-paced, and at times also slow-paced jazz record from a Afro-jazz fusion band. Has very like primal sound to it, while still sounding very futuristic and bringing jazz forward. That is what this is reminding me of. Really just incredible jazz elements throughout this LP, and this one is no exception to the rule, and really bring it to the roots, like those African ways, especially in the sound there. Loving it. Especially this like chorus here. It's like chants. It's very spiritual. More time, I don't even want it, to be honest. So you my life ain't no stopping God's plan. Everybody bleeds red, so I fear no man. Sliding right into this chorus. Just such an upbeat track that feels very in touch with the roots. Just love the natural feel of it too, and the rhythm and that percussion. Feels very organic. Closing that track out, I should say. We're going to go right into The Garden, another interlude. Lots of interludes on this LP. Most of them have been hitting really hard. Only one interlude in particular I think was a little bit weaker, really because it was only 1 minute long. What do you expect? Seems like there is a bit of a loose narrative on this LP, one that I'll have to pick up on with repeated listenings. I love the backdrop of these interludes. Kind of like brings everything together. Very cohesive album. I like that gentle thudding behind these oohs and ahs. I guess no ahs. Very angelic, this outro. Ooh. Let's go right into the second to last track here. How Did You Get Here is the name of this one. So opening with a piano, which so far the album has not really played around with. Yeah, very gospel as well. Really leading to the religious kind of experience of the album.
How the hell did I get here vested? I sit and read my old lyric books like damn it must have been destined. Stuck to it, I improvise my way here, no rules. Back when it was
love the full confidence she's kind of gotten throughout this album. Now I got them on side. Confidence rises, there ain't no stopping me. I'm unstoppable. Ooh. Oh, going right into this. Again, very jazzy, soulful, rich production. Rapid. This flow.
Then I listen, told me to follow my own intuition, go with the pace I set for myself. I don't need drums to follow the rhythm, couldn't apply.
I love that she cuts the drums out during this passage too and makes that line. Speaking on her growth quite heavily on this one, and her abilities, and her studies as an MC. You gotta study the greats to be the greats.
If you stand where we're standing, you dreams and never stop chasing, and you'll make it, trust.
Ooh. That little synth there was, I think that was a synth. Sounded like a synth. Or an organ. That's an organ. This is a great track. Not sure why it would seem the lowest streams. Feels like a final track. It really feels like a victory lap in a way. Those bongos again, playing with a bit of that Afrobeat energy. That feels like a final track, but it's not, because now we're going to go into the actual one. Misunderstood. The drums are back.
There go little Simz from around the way. She wanted the credibility, never cared for fame. While the palette fades, release the colors of pain. It's a black and white.
Maybe she's humbling herself a little bit on this one.
Looking back, was it all a waste of
Gray Area reference back to her LP before this one. Maybe speaking of those who, I guess, doubted her. Is that what I'm getting here? Ooh. I like that repetition. A very nice low-key cut to the end of the album.
Oh, he fucked up, yo, I had the same thing. But there's a bigger picture, God is painting.
I really like the storytelling here.
I really wanted it to work, and God is my witness.
Seems like her family doubted her, some of her family. Perhaps her sister. That's what I'm gathering here. Almost like she had to sacrifice relationships. That's what she's saying here for her art. Something that every artist tends to struggle with is the balance between a relationship, whether it be family or a love interest, and the artistic ventures that they are, I guess, destined for, it would seem. And boy, oh boy, was that a beautiful low-key track to cut it out. At 19 tracks long, many interludes. It's, without the interludes, it's it's like 14 tracks long, it would seem, without the interludes. And that being said, hour and 5 minutes probably cuts it down to about 55 or so without the interludes, maybe an hour. The interludes themselves are fantastic, but this album is like ripe with multi-genre layering. You've got got jazz, you've got R&B, you've got soul, you have some Afrobeat as well mixed in there quite heavily in the back end. The orchestral kind of Baroque elements are really beautiful and what I was kind of expecting from this LP, given the fact that I've heard No Thank You, and that's what I liked in that LP. But this album blends it all together so smoothly, makes it a nice, tight, cohesive package. For 1 hour, this feels like it would be a double album, considering how dense it is, and yet it is so concise in its hour and so packed to the brim with ideas. She really stretches the pen in every direction when it comes to themes as well. You got your braggadocious tracks, you have your social justice tracks, like such as Women or the opening track. You have tracks that speak on family, you have tracks that speak on love, you have tracks that speak on religion and culture. Just a lot really being poured into here. And I can't help but feel like this is in a lot of ways inspired by Kendrick Lamar and what he was doing with Good Kid, Mad City or T-Pab. Really the strongest kind of connections I feel like I get from this album are Kendrick Lamar. And that being said, like when Kendrick Lamar was on his hiatus after Damn, people were wondering, you know, who's the next Kendrick Lamar? And I personally was saying either Denzel Curry or Little Simz. And that was before I even checked out this album in full. And I gotta say, hearing this, it would be Little Simz, in my opinion. I would think Little Simz, if Kendrick Lamar were to retire, or if he has any real competition in today's world, it would be Simz, because she is truly on another level and really does feel like she is just bringing that fire and energy and overall theme and message that can really rival Kendrick. So, incredible conscious rap hip-hop album, beautiful LP, super poetic, super beautiful, and the production on this thing as well is incredibly layered. The producer, again, what was his name? Dean Josiah Cover, aka Inflow, is incredible as a producer. Like, absolutely matches the chemistry and energy that Simz brings to the table here. They really do feel like a perfect pairing, it would seem. So, yeah, gotta say, probably the closest to a perfect album I've heard so far for MC May. And I would not be surprised if this cracks my top 50 hip-hop albums one day. Maybe top 25, maybe top 10, depending how the growing portion of this album feels on me as I give it repeated listenings. Incredible. Not a single bad track, not a single track I would rate below an 8. But that does it for the listening portion of this album. So if you like this video, please hit like and subscribe to follow along and listening to more hip-hop albums alongside myself during MC May. And then we will jump into June, where we'll be doing a different genre, one that we'll keep a secret for now, a little hush-hush. And I also want to react to any other albums, maybe some new releases that I am interested in reacting to for the channel, or just any other albums in the future. I'm also going to be doing a Kate Bush series. Every month there'll be a different Kate Bush album. So if you're a fan of Kate Bush and you're just checking out Little Simz, follow along for that, because pretty soon I will release a reaction video to Kate Bush's debut album, because I've already heard Hounds of Love, and I want to go through her entire discography. That does it for today's video. As always, my name is Randy Joe. Thank you for watching, and I'm signing off.